Good morning, Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore, and welcome to this morning's call. I've just pressed start, so I'll give it a few minutes for people to come in from the waiting room, and we will start to get going. If you're on, say good morning in the chat to us. We love to see that. So good morning, good morning. Yeah, I can see them coming in. So we're going to get going because I'm always conscious of time on our wonderful Saturday morning calls. So welcome to Lead, Laugh, Love. I'm thrilled to have an absolute icon with us today, someone who embodies leadership, resilience, and heart. Dr. Steve Hines is a Gold Presidential Director who has been part of Mannatech since 1994. Steve and his wife Barbie have been happily married for 53 years. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely incredible. And are proud parents to two daughters, Jackie and Alex. Steve really has created a legacy of achievement, and his journey with Mannatech is nothing short of inspiring. Steve is a top income earner. He's been inducted to the illustrious $1 Million Club. He served 6 years on the Advisory Council, a proud member currently of the S&P Council. And no surprise, he's been a recipient of the Ray Robbins Giving Spirit Award, and that was in 2016. And he's been honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Wow, that is huge. That's incredible. In 2022. Over the years, Steve has affectionately been dubbed the grandfather of the Happy Team, and he is one of Mannatech's most inspirational, empowering leaders. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Hines. We're truly honored to have you. We got the time right. It's always a challenge when we go
Yes,
thing. And what a speaker to have with us to kick off 2026. So good morning or good afternoon and welcome.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Now, my first question, and those that are regular on these calls know this, and my first question is always, why Mannatech? So how did we find you or you find us?
Well, it was, I was prepared to look for things, and so the confluence of me being prepared and an opportunity. It's a company of provision, and I believe that things happen for a reason. So I had already built networks in the past that were traditional buying groups and so on. So I was very open to network marketing. So a total stranger came into my clinic. Uh, I was seeing an elderly patient that he brought in, and he started. He's sitting in the room with me. He starts talking to me about something, right? But he mentioned that there was a company that was working in the area of nutrition and cutting edge exclusive technologies. And he mentioned at the time it was like Mannatech. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I just happen to have a degree in biochemistry as well as the other degrees I have. And so, kind of like Dr. Nugent, it's like, okay, you got my attention now. So I went to a meeting, and right away I met Sam and Jet and a few other people, and they got me excited because I realized the first thing I realized was I love network marketing. Now, that may not be something people say every time, but I happen to think it's one of the greatest ways to democratize freedom. And so I was very open to network marketing. And so, yeah, those initial people, 10 of us in a room. Out of that room, I sponsored Don Partridge, and the rest is history. But I was working three practices. I was extremely busy, had no time, but the product and the science and then the leaders got my attention.
Wow, you sponsored Don Partridge.
Yeah, that was the first guy I
I
sponsored.
did not know you were the same team. I did not know you were the same team.
Yeah,
Don's.
that's a big leg. That's
Yes.
yeah. I mean, between my team is we represent about 20 or 25% of the company now.
Yeah, I'd imagine like that just because, we talk always about the power of duplication, but when you look at it like that and you look at, especially those who've been around for a while that have years of building going on and you don't always realize where people are connected. Um,
Yes, that's right.
that's absolutely incredible.
I promise not at least 50% of the people in my downline don't know I'm in their upline, probably. But
But I
that's a
also
good
think
thing. That's a
I
good
I
thing.
I also think good leadership attracts good leadership. Do you know?
Amen.
I don't ever think it's never a lucky accident. Isn't it? They say, the old saying, the harder I work, the luckier I seem to get. Well, it's never luck, and I think the
Well,
law of
that's
attraction.
true. That's true for Barbie and I. Yep.
You know, we were chatting before we went live, and as we mentioned, Steve is the upline to the Happy Team, and we've had David Leon and Handsome Man. I was sharing how impactful they were, and I think again, like attracts like. You know, we're all very different and individual, but I think what you put out there, it becomes attractive to people. And you're right, network marketing is the most incredible
It's all about
business.
people.
Yeah, oh, starts and ends with people. You know, absolutely. So when you look at the early days and becoming a leader and growing your business, what are the things that you did in the early days that really helped you get your business up and running?
Well, first of all, I had to learn the skills that would attract the right people.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so I made mistakes when I first started. We would put on these presentations that were just amazing. Products, the science, the testimonies, and it was 90% product driven. But we had a very aggressive comp plan too. The government will let you have a comp plan like that now, but it was a very rewarding comp plan. Everything you did right, you were rewarded. So if you trained people, if you created volume, if you created a system, you got rewards. So it was the best. It was the best of times. 1994, 1995, 96. We would have a meeting with 1,000 people for an opportunity presentation. You can't do that now. Everybody's on their cell phones. You just can't do it. So what started it was we would do these amazing meetings. Now the problem was what I learned was that people would go, "Oh my God, that was amazing. I understand, but I can't do that." And they were trying to compare themselves to us. And I'm not duplicatable. I
Yeah.
have 4 degrees in the medical sciences. I'm not duplicatable. So I had to realize that in order to really build a big business, I had to be a lot more relatable and I had to focus on the problems that average people have. And I'll
Mhm.
talk more about that as we go through this presentation. But what humbled me was we did at the beginning. We almost couldn't do anything wrong. I mean, it
Mhm.
just sold itself. And so a lot of us were very fortunate that we caught a wave. But I believe today. Now, here's the thing I want to leave. Today is the best day to start a Mannatech business, and I'll share more about that.
Oh, I want you to share more about that now because I love that. Because I think it's funny, we've been doing online opportunity nights. We call them First Look, and we're very much with the leadership group that's driving it. We talk a lot about language and being relatable because to that point, if we come out feel with products and you present yourself as the next Dr. Nugent, it's not relatable. They think, oh my God, the information was great, but I could never do that. So,
Exactly.
so I love that. So why do you think right now today is the best day? I love that.
Today is the best day because the technology of network marketing is going through the roof. If you're ready to stay the course for the next 1 or 2 years,
Hmm.
you will build a global business bigger than mine.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
that's not hyperbole.
Yeah.
It's taken me 32 years to create the team I have. And there were struggles along the way because at one point we almost rejected network marketing as a company. We felt that we were a company of provision, that God was going to steer us toward our destiny. And of course, I love that. My faith agrees with that. But
Hmm.
uh, but that wasn't duplicatable.
Hmm.
Today, the tools of communication allow you to relate with people, to create trust with people, and to help them understand you much more rapidly. Because if you don't have those 3 things, you don't get a decision.
Hmm.
You need clarity and focus to get a decision. It has to be emotional, and people have to say, it's my decision, not yours. I'm not trying, I can't convince people. They have to convince themselves. And the way you do that is by using this technology we have, just like we're doing right now,
Hmm.
say, I have the same problem as you have. Here's what I did to make a difference in my life. Maybe that would be something you'd consider.
I'm going to deviate a little bit from what I sent you because you've said some really cool things here, and I kind of want to explore a little bit more. Um, because you talked about, oversharing on the product, but I think we
Yes,
default to the product because it's where we're most comfortable.
of course.
Because maybe we've had the most amazing results and maybe we don't feel
Oh,
we're as successful as we could be in the business yet, so we kind of steer away from that. How do you manage that?
well, these products have changed our lives. I mean, Barbie and I wouldn't go a day without these products.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you saw my auto ship, you'd think I was a thief. I was crazy. So, and I am crazy. I'm almost 80 years old, and I still have the fitness level of somebody much younger,
Mm-hmm.
as long as I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So this is what makes it fun. But to get back to the point, we the group of people we started with were very faithful. They were very science. They were very medical, not medical, but wellness conscious. And so we attracted everybody from a guy like Jet, who was, go, 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 and to Don Partridge, who was, this changed my life. I'm a man of science, Dr. Nugent. So we had that. And everywhere I would go, people would say, don't talk about the opportunity, talk about the product. And my answer was, I I have been given a gift. I have to give that gift to somebody else. And the gift isn't just product. The gift is the opportunity to go from the from the left side of the cash flow quadrant over to the right side of the cash flow quadrant. And one of the reasons that today I believe you can match me or pass me is because if you think about the cash flow quadrant, it does all the work for you. You just have to be a messenger. And so the B business is Mannatech. It's the B business. It's the multi-billion-dollar entity. And then the I business is, in my case, is the Hines system that we put together as a system for duplication. So all the new person has to do is understand their role in building a small sales business and a large network. Yeah. One of the things we stop sometimes, like, for example, I've been in 32 years. If you took all my customers and all my personal volume, my personal circle is, $2,000, $2,500. Okay, so let's say $2,500. That's $30,000 a year in volume. I couldn't make money doing $30,000 a year in volume, even though that's a great personal circle. Mm-hmm. No, I go the opposite way. I say everybody starts with a small circle and then uses that to help people understand that they can do it. See, when the lights go on and it's their idea to start, then you're solving their problems. The greatest gift I can give all of you today is, and this is something that was hard for me at the beginning, really hard, was talk less, listen more. Talk about the problems you had, your story, and share with people that everybody's having a challenge with the middle class. I always say, would it be okay if you could escape some of these problems? Everybody knows we're struggling, taxes, inflation, etc. Wouldn't it be better if we could unite, as I've done many times, and create a different environment where you create a small sales business, but a large network? So brick upon brick upon brick. Let's just use the example of $200 a month. How hard would it be for all of us to share how we could create a $200 a month business, even with our own personal use, right? That'd be easy. Well, if it's easy for you, and I teach you how to approach a person, then you can say, hey, you just have to do what I did. I built a small business in sales, love the products. Every time I take them, I get more excited. I use more products. My friends use more products, but that's a natural thing that happens as you understand the benefits. But I'm not going to convince you on the facts and benefits of the science. I'm going to convince you that we're struggling as middle class people, and we have a solution that was never taught to us in school. You were taught how to be an employee or a self-employed person, and that's where all the limits are. That's where the taxes are. That's where the limits are. That's where the stress is. Now, I've been very fortunate. I have built businesses in all four quadrants. So I was employed going to school, self-employed as a doctor. I built I did over $3 billion with my professional buying group. And that's why I was open to network marketing. And then I followed the Costco model. I was invited to put doctors in the Costco stores way back when there was only 2 stores or 3 stores, right? But my ego didn't let me do it because I was a hyper professional. And I walked into Costco, they got mayonnaise, tires, and doctors. It just didn't work out. And I turned down what would have been a huge multi-million dollar offer. Well, I realized I'd made a mistake in a way. It just wasn't me, that's all. But in a way, it convinced me to be more attuned to opportunity.
Yeah.
People are so busy now that they think they know what you're doing. Oh, this is network marketing. Oh, this is business opportunity. Oh, this is home. No, they don't have a clue because they haven't educated themselves about what's on the investor side of the equation: passive income, freedom, leverage. Leverage is the key. So Costco, let me give me an example. Amazon, Amazon and Costco together, not Costco, Amazon and Walmart together do $15,000 of business per second. Okay, but what is that based on? It's based on millions of small transactions. The average purchase at Costco averaged out is about $125. But they multiply that millions of times to become multi-billion. But what are they multiplying? What are they multiplying? They're multiplying consumer power.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I want to really drive today is you actually have the power in your wallet to vote for your own freedom and for everybody that's your friend. It's easy to vote for your own freedom if you collectivize it. When I built my professional co-op, no doctors had the buying power to get deep discounts. But when I combined 5,000 doctors together, I could share through the co-op deep discounts. We became the big boys. Well, I want you to understand this presentation right now, today, you can be a big boy. You build a $200 business, a $300 business, and then use our systems to multiply yourself. But you have to multiply yourself by something that's simple to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, so when I talk to people, I say, everybody's struggling. What are you doing about it? What are you thinking? Where are you going? This is, I met a complete stranger a few days ago, and he asked me what I did. I said, well, for many years, I've helped people. I've helped people create an online business that is very successful, and it's very simple. And he said, well, tell me more about it. And I said, well, it's pretty simple. Um, you know, I'll schedule a presentation with you, but in the meantime, I'm going to send you some information and you can check it out. So he did. He checked it out. His wife wants to be an anesthesiologist, and he wants to get in the sports car business. Well, he's totally turned on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I had to say, what are the problems we all share? And so when you realize that every business in the world wants your money, not just Mannatech, every business wants your money, you can vote with your dollars. You can decide to empower yourself through your consumer power. You can take that power back. And when you take that power back, other people will join you because it's simple. People only want to know three things. Can I do it? Well, you can do it if you're creating a $200 business.
Mm-hmm.
Will you help me? Yeah, that's what the systems in Mannatech are for. And then finally, how soon can we make money? I've had people start with a $200 model, sponsor 5 people the first month, also doing 200, and they sponsored 5 people the second month. Well, now you've gone from one person down to 30 people or so, and you've got a check. And so now people get excited.
Yeah. I love that. I made a note. Can I do it? Will you help me? And how soon can I make money?
Yeah.
Three very simple things to think about, really.
Yeah, they can buy any product they want, or they don't have to buy any product. They just have customers.
Mm-hmm.
So when people think when they're building a network, they got to like build the entire network, right?
Yeah.
No, you build with a few key people who want the same thing you want. And what do they want? They want more time, they want more love, they want more freedom, they want more income. They feel like they're doing something important. They're
Mm-hmm.
changing the lives of people beyond themselves. And that's a great thing to do. How many jobs can you do that with?
Yeah. And I think I'm going to give a shout out to somebody watching this morning because Trisha, I know you're here and you're watching, and Trisha is in South Australia and she's 3 hours outside of the nearest city.
Wow.
And we knocked on her door and said, what if we came? Because we were talking to her upline. Her upline said, I think we'll get better results if we go bush. So we rang her and she said, oh my God, yes. She found us a venue, and we filled the room. She filled the room.
Ah,
She absolutely filled the room. And this was towards the end of last year. And that one activity has created an effect. Trisha's business has grown. She's ranked up. She's earned the incentive. We're actually in conversation. We're catching up
oh,
on Monday to go back and do it again. And I think it's that idea of if that's you and you have people in little areas all doing those small things, the knock-on effect is
bingo.
huge. It was just I want Trisha's been absolutely incredible. And I know now she's cringing, going, she needs to stop mentioning my name. Um, but it's been a phenomenal story of, somebody that came in for the products, loves the products, was given an opportunity, and she said, well, if they're going to come help me, this is a big deal, and I'm going to really lean into this. And um, we didn't stay there the night. We drove back to the city, and we were just saying maybe we stay there next time, because we in Australia, when you're driving in the bush late at night, a kangaroo can easily jump in front of your car. It's not a myth, it does happen. So we thought maybe we just stay the night because people didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
The energy was so good. The people did not want to leave. And obviously there was three of us heading back. Her upline presidential director, Judy, who's on the call, came with us, and they were so organized. But that one small thing. And so if you're out there and you're thinking about it, sometimes the small things is what all of the time it's a number of small things.
Yeah, it only takes a spark to create a
Yeah,
fire. And
absolutely.
and 75% of my business is built by women who have more than one purpose for doing it.
Hmm.
And I like that. I mean, sometimes guys get a little single-minded, right? Because
Never.
so, whereas gals, they're like, no, let's empower the gals. Let's do it together. Let's have
Yep.
fun. I
Yep.
mean, the biggest stories in network marketing are from women.
Yeah. And I think if you're not having fun, it doesn't mean I'm not saying it's always going to be easy, but if you can make it fun and you can have
Well,
some joy in it,
you guys know David and May. If it's not fun, they're not going to do it.
yeah. And I think that's the thing, because people are attracted by the energy, I think also. So if you
Well,
walk in and everybody's miserable, they're not going to stay.
and that's also why it's harder to build if you're just using online.
Yeah,
You still have to meet people you're going to personally
absolutely.
work with at some point. You know, I mean, I only built in the Northwest, up and down the West
Mm,
Coast, right? And so I started right here, and then I went to Vancouver, then I went to South. But I never, my first several years, I was never that far from home. Now, if I
mhm.
did have business sprouting out someplace, I would work with a leader there to make sure when I showed up that there was going to be 50, 100, 200, 300 people. And as you said, today that's harder to do, but it's easy if you give people, if you check the ego, if you just are a giver and say, I have something here that can solve some of your problems. They solved my problem. Here's the problems I had. They solved those problems. Maybe you'd have the same problems.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just be humble, relatable. It's so hard for people today. They're so distracted and their attention span is so short. It's hard for them to understand you. You have to get a very clear understanding of what you're doing. You're helping people solve their problems.
I was going to ask the question is, what's the one thing you wish you knew back then that you know now? But I think you've really covered that, because I think
That's exactly right.
your business is always a learning curve. And if you're not open to that, you're going to get stuck, and you're going to stay stuck. I think you always, and when you get a new person in your team, you bring a new energy, you bring new ideas. And if you can park the ego, which does happen,
Oh,
because we're human.
I, I mean, I could have a huge ego. There are times when I've had a huge ego. I was very successful at a very young age. I was a multimillionaire when I was 32 years old. I didn't even get out of college until I was 30. So yeah, I was a
Yeah.
mover and shaker. I've done between all my businesses, I've done over $4 billion in sales.
Wow.
And so yeah, so I bring that to the table, but
Mhm.
that is not what I lead with.
Yeah,
Again, that how's a guy waiting tables going to relate with that? You know,
absolutely.
I have to say, when I was a young guy, I was mopping floors in a grocery store, working my way through med school. That's more relatable.
Yeah. I think too, we're all human. So you can have the
Yes.
inner tantrum, but maybe keep it inner.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
People want to know what's in it for them.
yeah,
And what's in it for them is a quiet need to be free.
yeah. Freedom is such a big, important word in our business, I think, because, you
Yeah,
know,
sometimes we say it without understanding what it really means. And that's why you got to start with why. It's not
yeah,
what we do or how we do it, it's why we do it.
why we do it. And I think it's okay to want more and it to be a personal why, because we hear so often, I just want to help people. And I'm always
Sure.
reminded, Lynn's on the call and she said that to her upline. And his response to her was incredible. He said, okay, he said, Lynn, so do I. But who's helping more people, me as a bronze presidential or you as an old national director? And it was a very
That
kind of okay, because as you do grow this, you do get the opportunity and you do have a bigger impact. Um,
you'll have a joyful spirit the more you're able to give people opportunity.
yeah, I think so. Absolutely. So it's January. So what are the things that you're doing now to like, I don't believe a kickstart in January starts in January. I think it starts at the end of last year. But what are you doing? What do you do with your team? And how do you because you've got a Chinese group too. So you go
Yeah.
into our new year and then they go into their new year and you want
Yeah,
to
I get
keep
to have
things
two New
moving.
Years, yes.
Yeah. So what do
And
you
they're
do?
phenomenal.
Yeah. So what's your plan
Um,
of attack?
our plan of attack is we are getting much better. Well, first of all, we're going to have some events.
Yeah.
And so we always like to start out the year with some really, really good events.
Mm-hmm.
We had an event in November to start pushing ourselves into January,
Mm-hmm.
and 20% of the, no, 100% of the new people, we had about 110 people at the event because that's all the West Coast Training Center will hold is
Mm-hmm.
110 people. We
Mm-hmm.
packed it out. We had 20 new people. They all got involved.
Mm-hmm.
So there was magic in the moment,
Yeah.
and the center was ready to go and with clarity, and the audience supported the idea of the new people. It wasn't about me, it wasn't about them, it was about the new people. What
Mm-hmm.
could we say to people to give them hope and to help them believe that they can do it? So that was phenomenal. We showed the slides, the incentive tricks, we had fun, we had some product samples, and it's just a great event.
Yeah.
Good test, really good, compliant, fun testimonials. 90% of it was in Chinese. So the funny thing is when I go to an event where there's an English speaker, watch me at an event. I'll be in the front row and I'll be taking notes. You know, I've been a student for what, 60 years, I guess. So,
And I think that's the key. I think, as you said, you can do so much online, but again, the in-person stuff makes such a difference.
well,
I think,
you have to hear something 10 times, 20 times, and every time you hear it, it gives you just a little different aha moment.
hmm
And pretty soon you go, God, now I finally get it. I finally understand what Steve means by consumer power and by the cash flow quadrant and
hmm
asking questions that everybody can relate to. One of my favorite questions is everybody knows we're struggling. What are
hmm
people doing about it?
yeah. And I think that the thing you can never underestimate is the energy that walking into a room where everybody is having fun and joyful and you feel welcomed.
Oh,
We've done events recently where somebody's come to an event for the first time and they come nervous because, this is my first event. And they
yes.
leave thinking, what was I worried about? I've had the best
This,
time and everybody's just opened their arms and embraced me into the community. And
I'm having more fun than with my family. Yes, exactly.
Ah, no, we never said that. Just in case my husband's listening. But it is, I think, we did an incentive trip to Thailand when we launched into Thailand. And
Oh,
we were all in the one hotel and we had the rooms we had gave us access to the lounge on the 21st floor. And we still talk about level 21 and the
uh,
the fun we had because everybody would end up there at some part in the late afternoon, early evening, and it was just that sense of you could have been a family. You could like it was the weird, the wonderful. No topic was off the table, and there was a lot of fun. And I think about that, and in essence, and somebody said to me recently, Sinead, the best days, some of the best days of my life have been Mannatech and the friends
Yes.
I've made and the fun we've had. And I think, you know what? There's such a lot to be joyful for. And if you're watching this and you're going, okay, what can you do? We have been doing first look online. We are going to continue them in person. So as I always say, if you want one in your area, reach out to Andrew. Everybody knows how to find Andrew. Start that conversation because the online stuff is incredible. It does an amazing job, but the in-person has that extra sparkle of magic. And I look at an event we did in New Zealand, and we were in Auckland and we were in Cambridge the following night, and a guy that was in Auckland came down the way to Cambridge because he said, last night I heard from a man. And because of that man and that in person, he came down the following day. And Diandra, that's we're talking about you, although they have a family commitment this morning. He might not watch this till later. But my point is both work and both are effective. So lean into both, I think is really what you want to do there. Um, I'm conscious of time, so you're doing some events. How do you
Yes.
how do you wake them up? Or are they already awake before you? As in, it's January, like for us here in Australia, it's the height of summer, it's the big school holidays. So you've had Christmas, you've had New Year, and for us we have Australia Day in the next couple of weeks. And so kids are still on holidays, traffic's a little bit slower, thankfully. Um, and so people are kind of easing into it.
Yeah.
How do you motivate people to go, you know what, your month, it starts now.
Yeah. January, February, March, and April are actually really good months for us because it's
Mhm.
winter up here. So
Mhm.
people are getting out of the Christmas season, getting to the new year. It's important to understand that, I create mastermind groups. The Hines system is about the power of leadership.
Mhm.
And so the happy team doesn't take anything. We every single month we are meeting several times online with the platinums and with various groups, right?
Mhm.
So all the platinums meet, starting with me right away toward the end of the year, planning all the events. We make sure we're looking at the incentive, get a jump on it, because the faster you get started on an incentive, the more likely you're going to get it.
Mhm.
And so, and we literally put it on the board. I mean, up in Canada on the board, they've got I'm committing. I'm going on the incentive. Okay.
Mhm.
You say, well, if you do this and I do that, and then we'll all get there.
Mhm.
And that's been very effective.
Yeah.
The incentives, I'm not, the incentives. I love incentives because the team. I love being with my team. You know, I could go on vacation anytime, but I wouldn't. I'd be by myself with my family, and that's great too, of course. But I love going with the team because they're so playful, and we have take 10,000 photos so we can show it off to everybody. I mean, Hanson's a great example. He's a businessman. He's a very successful man. He's a very professional man. And when Julia started talking about the trips, he's like, wait a minute. They were talking about amber toast. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he goes, what trips? What trips? He's probably been on 40 trips now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. People like to have fun, and,
Yeah.
and life right now isn't as fun because we've got taxes and inflation and politics and media. We all get bummed out pretty quick. And
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to get together.
Yeah.
So yes, we plan for the incentives, we plan for the events, we plan for Chinese New Year. That's a big thing for us.
Mhm.
And then we just pick it up. We have what we call a PD factory. Everybody knows what schedule they need to be on to go PD,
Mhm.
and we work it out step by step. And with my new system, it accelerates. I mean, we've got people. If you look at only thing you have to do in my business is create a $200 sales business, find 5 people who want to do that with you.
Mhm.
They say, hey, I have some dreams. I don't like what I'm doing now. Whatever the reason, whatever their why is, work on that, help them solidify that, and then say, this is how you're going to get it. It's easy for you to do it. It's easy for you. If it's easy for me to do it, it's easy for you to do it. And if it's easy for you to do it, it's easy for you to find people to do it. So, I mean, I've had people go 5, 5, 5, 5, which is 780 people in 6 months.
Love it.
Yeah. So
And
you got $156,000 a month business.
And we're in month 3 of our travel incentive. We're going to Korea. We're going to
Oh,
spend 5 days
wonderful.
in Seoul. We're doing a behind the scenes Luminovation visit to the
Oh,
yes,
wow. That's even
yes,
better.
which I know is people are very
Yes.
excited about. So we also have double
Those
points
trips, by the way,
movement.
those trips are great. I
Yes.
mean, you can go on vacation, but you're not going to get into a factory. I mean,
No.
I was out there in Costa Rica, actually in the factory. It's like, wow. I mean,
Yes.
I'm an old dog. I've been around a long time. I went through that factory and I'm thinking, this is amazing.
Hmm.
Amazing.
Oh, to be fair, it was inspired by the fact that I know how everybody responds when we go to Manifest and they want to see the lab. And because
Yes.
we had chosen Seoul as a destination, we actually reached out to, and you know, the wonderful Mr. J. Rowe in Korea, who looks
Yeah.
after
Oh,
Korea.
yes.
We asked him, is it possible? And he said, let me check. And he said, he came back with a yes. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
triggered a lot of excitement because we love, we're all 112, but we have amazing skin.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. People don't, yeah, I'm
yeah.
almost 80. I'm pushing 80 and
You don't look it.
I,
I'm not just blowing
I
smoke here. You don't look it, but
I'm not even using any filters here.
I have a theory. I'm not saying it's backed by any science, so don't tell me I'm not compliant. But I've traveled a lot with Dr. Nugent, and Dr. Nugent has very, very good skin. I believe people on long-term ambertoes have really good skin because I think it's beauty from the inside out. I have no scientific backing behind that, everybody,
Well,
but it's my
well,
theory. It's my
no,
theory.
if you took the optimal support pack and the Ambertos every month, you would look younger for sure.
Hmm. So that is my theory. So you don't look your age, Steve, and it's that there's
Thank
a
you.
reason for it.
Sometimes I feel it,
Yeah.
but when I'm on, look at when I'm talking to other people, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's one person or 10,000 people. I
Mhm.
just get excited about sharing something that was so meaningful for Barbie and I. It changed our lives. It made us who we are today. It put my kids through college. It paid my
Yeah.
rent. I don't have car debt. I don't have credit card debt. I can travel. I mean, it's just so wonderful. So wonderful.
And I think it's all because you were open. And I think that's the biggest thing. And
Yes. I mean,
somebody piqued an interest, but you've got to step into that interest.
yes. I knew that leverage was the key, and I knew that consumers had power, and
Hmm.
I wanted to combine the two.
So we've talked about ego, which kind of leads us towards that personal development. And sometimes the best thing you can do is to pour into yourself. So we love reading.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
reading, whether you're somebody that listens to the audio in the car or you've got a
Yes.
Kindle, I like an old school book. I just
Well,
me.
I
It's
like outlining. I like using pieces for my speeches.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like somebody messing with my book.
Oh, I mess with them real bad.
You can write notes in your notebook, but please don't write on my book. Other
No,
than
yeah, no,
a dear Sinead signed by the
I
author.
right. Hey, when I was a poor student, I was so broke I would have to buy used books, and
Yes.
I would go through the used books and find the one that seemed to be the best outlined. The guy had all in the most important things. And I say, oh,
So,
good, I'll buy that book because he's already done the outlining for me.
so what's a book that you recommend?
Well, my number one favorite book is
Aha, launching a
how
leadership
to
revolution.
create, yeah, how to create launching a leadership revolution.
Hmm.
And let's see if I can get
That's Oren
where's the
Woodward and
yeah,
Chris Brady. Yes.
yes. That's the book that South Africa uses. That's the
Hmm.
book the Happy Team uses. I mean, South Africa's in my business, and
Hmm.
but I don't take any credit for that. Luciano and Louis and Leone, they are
Heard about that.
stars above stars.
Yes.
And so, but Al Ball and myself, a lot of us kind of come from this idea of leadership is the most important thing.
Hmm.
So that's the foundation stone. But you still got to always remind yourself, even if it's just with the YouTube,
Hmm.
remind yourself about Simon Sinek. Remind yourself about Robert
Yes.
Kiyosaki. Remind yourself, and so that you can be very clear when you talk. I mean, you can take Robert Kiyosaki and carve it all down into one sentence.
Hmm.
You either own a network or a network owns you.
Wow.
Which one do you want?
Yeah. I'm writing that down, but not on a book, just on a piece of paper. Not
Not
in my
on my
book.
book. This book I've been pretty good about because I
Yeah.
have several of these.
Yes, I have some of those sitting in my office actually, and I have read it. Um, You either own a network or a network owns you. I like that.
I mean, that's and 90% of us are owned by a network, and
Hmm.
we groan and we moan about this and that and the other thing. Well, there's something you can do about it. Again, if you're ready to go to work, if you're ready to be a leader and a giver and have a joyful spirit about what you're doing, you will attract an army of people who will make your life and their lives wonderful. This is the moment to do that. People are feeling alone, they're feeling depressed, they're feeling out of control. Well,
Hmm.
you just talked about the incentive. When I was in China, when I do my Asian stuff, I
Hmm.
always get a nice hotel, like you said, with a suite, and
Hmm.
then access to the VIP rooms. And man, I'm telling you, we just have a great time. And
Yeah.
like you said, people don't want to leave.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And it's interesting. The other thing too is, you talked about online earlier. If you're somebody that says, "Oh, I don't have time to read a book," a lot of these authors are on social media. They do short
But
clip videos. There's things you can listen to. Simon Sinek is on TikTok. Mel Robbins is on TikTok. They do short 3-minute videos, and sometimes they're a little bit longer. So great if you're busy in the morning, just listen to something short and inspiring. Because I feel, and I've learned this. I always think the wonderful thing about network marketing is as a corporate person, you learn the same principles along the way. You get the same opportunities because you go to the events to hear from these amazing speakers. So I've learned, some days there's a day you're not feeling it, but you got to show up. So sometimes it's
yeah,
all about finding those little triggers that are going to help lift your own energy because we do. I'm a big believer. You're allowed to have the pity party, but you're not allowed to stay there forever. So it's okay to feel how you feel, but to get yourself out of it. So having those little things. So maybe I guarantee you, if you look, there's a million Robert Kiyosaki clips out there. Um, and I think there's so much, you know, 30 years ago, you would have had to ring somebody or you would have had to ring the book. Now we're in an age of information and we think it's too much, but we can be selective. You don't let your kids watch everything on TV. You
you
select,
have
well,
to, yeah, you have to
self-select,
be clear. You have to be
self-select.
clear, clarity
Self-select.
and focus. Yep.
Absolutely. All right, we're coming up to time. So,
Okay.
any last words of advice for somebody watching who's looking to lead, laugh, and love along the way? Because I'm a big believer if you're leading, you got to love what you do and you got to make it fun. So,
Well,
last words of advice.
that's that is the name of the game. You've got to enjoy the process and not be fearful. The only thing stopping people is their own fear. And when you realize that that will melt away when you let go of your ego, let God lead you to the people that are looking.
Mhm.
People who aren't looking, you don't need. You need the people who are looking, and so just be open every day to receiving people. Barbie and I go out to dinner, we meet people, and I meet people along the way, but always be willing to say, I think you're doing a great job. I like your style, and then you start a conversation. So just have fun.
And you know what? I think that's so crucial because there is so much noise out there. And Al always says, when you work your passion, you never work a day in your life. And I remember the
Amen.
first time I heard him say that, and I went, you know what? If you love what you do, even though you're tired at the end of the day, it feels worth it.
Well, Barbie and I came from a very humble background. Nobody was there to help us. We had to work our way through
Mhm.
college, work our way through business. But if we had, that was the greatest blessing we ever had. That struggle to understand ourselves first and then help other people and help them out of their struggle. That's what created the business I have today. This is not about the product, although I think we have the best products in the world.
Yes, I think we do too. And for those of you that have been to a manifest, I'm sure you've come into contact one-on-one or in a group with Dr. Hines. I know personally, I had a great chat with Barbie at one of the
Yes,
PD nights one
yes.
night. Yeah, I can see us standing there, and I was somebody came to talk to us, and I was kind of going, "Shoo, I'm having a great conversation. I love this." She was just joyful. It was just you walked away going, "I love her."
Oh, no, I can
So what a
bloviate
duo.
for an hour and she says 5 words and they're all in.
Yeah.
They
Well,
don't
you
want to
did
hear
say
me.
women are smart. I thought I heard you say women were the smarter. Maybe
Well,
not.
in my case, it definitely is true. She is the strength behind our marriage, and that 53 years flew right by.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. 53 is like I hit 25 and I was going, woohoo, but 53, that is absolutely amazing.
And
Congratulations.
we're having fun. We're going to have fun today. We'll have fun tomorrow.
Absolutely love it. Dr. Hines, thank you so much for joining us this morning and your
A pleasure.
afternoon. It's been absolutely incredible. You've been smiling all the way through. And from the moment you jumped on, the first thing you said, "Oh, it's great to see your smile." I felt you made me feel good. And I think it's just resonated throughout the call, and we're very, very thankful.
Well,
Um,
thank you. It was an honor.
our pleasure. Everybody, our next online event is Tuesday night. And the email went out yesterday. It is our first look online. I caught up with the team yesterday. They're very excited. We can feel that it was really, really impactful. And have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Hope the weather is better for you than it is here. Thank you. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.